Yeah, it's hard to believe it's already time for SEC championship, and I think back to the beginning of the year in August where we were having our team retreat talking about what were our goals for the year, and we always start with the end in mind. We always talk about how are we going to be at our best for championship season. So that's right now, that's regionals, that's nationals, and then we put together a game plan, a roadmap for how to best get there. And of course this season there's been some ups and downs along the way, but I really do believe this team is peaking at a great time. They're finding their groove, they're figuring out what works for them. And let's face it, the road to success is not always a perfectly straight line. There's a lot of bumps and turns and curveballs that get thrown at you, and it's all about how you respond. And I think this team has shown their resilience, their grittiness, and their determination in finding a way to thrive. And so I'm excited to see them confident, believing in themselves, and ultimately at a really great place going into this meet.
Talked about you start with the end in mind, you want to be at your best at the end of the year. Do you feel like this team is in a position right now to be competing at their best here at the end of the season?
I really do. I really do think our team is at its best right now. We've gotten through a lot of the sickness, adversity, injuries that we had to battle with early on in the season. And so we've gotten a lot of our depth up to speed, where I think the beginning of the year we only had about 6 people that were really ready to go on each event. Now we have between 8 and 10. And that sort of preparation, it took some time, it took some mental preparation, it took physical preparation, it took some additional strength work, nutrition work, all of those different areas to become a high performer. And you don't get that without incredible buy-in. And so I think it says a lot about the culture that our athletes and staff have created here, the buy-in, the investment, the commitment to the process. And while that didn't always show up early on, I think it's starting to show up now. And it's really laying the groundwork for our culture to continue to flourish, for our athletes to continue to come to Bama and get better during their time here. And I think that says a lot about what we're creating.
What was kind of your biggest takeaway from the regular season that you kind of want to continue and take into the postseason now in SEC championships?
I think the biggest takeaway is what we kept getting hit in the face with over and over again, and that was it's all about how you respond. Hard moments are going to happen, but they don't last unless you let them last. And so it's about turning the page and just putting one foot in front of the other and finding a way to attack the next moment in front of you. I think that's an incredibly valuable lesson, not just in sports, but in life. Things are not always going to go perfect. They're not always going to go the way that you think they're going to go. But it's all about how are you going to put together your next game plan and do your best to attack the next opportunity. And I think our team has done that time and time again, sometimes smoother than others, but nevertheless they continue to fight, they continue to put their head down, work, develop the skills that it takes to be great in the hardest of moments, whether that's up on a balance beam or it's battling something else outside of a gym. I think all of these things are greater lessons in life, and it's really our responsibility as a program to help them develop those things to be great in the real world as well.
You mentioned at the end of that road win against Michigan the 14,400 seconds of staying locked in. Can you talk a little bit about the mentality going into this tournament style play rather than the regular season?
Yeah, I think so often it can feel really overwhelming when you go into a postseason format like this. When you look at a quad meet, when you look at 2 days of competition at regionals, 2 days of competition at nationals, I think it's easy to get wrapped up in, you got to be perfect in all these different things, and that's just absolutely not the truth. You got to stay locked in to each moment. And when you start looking at 10 moments, it becomes a really daunting task. We have 18 people on our team, and we don't need any single person to do more than their job. They just need to do their job to the best of their ability. That's every staff member, that's every athlete. And so as we looked at Michigan and the 4 hours that they needed to be locked in, that broke down to 14,400 moments or seconds along the way. And that's how we're going to continue to look at this next month of work as well.
Talked at times this year about just the depth of the SEC, that any of the 9 teams could be there on the final night of the year. So kind of with that, maybe how much pressure was there this season knowing that there was only the 8 spots, and do you think that that's something that should change or should be looked at moving forward?
Yeah, I think it's tough as nails to compete in this conference. It's always been that way, and then adding new teams in the mix just elevated that to a whole new level. I think it certainly brought some pressure and expectation, but I don't think that's something that wouldn't be there otherwise. I think there's always pressure and expectation at competing at a program like Alabama that has had such a rich history, such an expectation of being one of the best in the country. But the thing is, our athletes didn't come here to coast. The athletes that are on our team came here because they understood that and they wanted to be a part of that. And so moving forward, the SEC championship is the ultimate preparation for the national championship. And I think what's most important is that each team there has the respect that it's earned, that it's deserved, where any single one of those teams can be the best team in the country.
So y'all have competed against pretty much all of these teams before, and this year, the scores were really, really close. What's going to give y'all the edge in this SEC championship?
I think what's going to give us our edge is going back to what I said before. It's only controlling the one moment in front of us. I think the moment we get off track or lose our focus or start comparing ourselves to another team, another score, judges' feedback, somebody in the crowd, the minute we lose focus is where we start letting things slip through our fingers. We did that a couple times this year. Maybe we had a strong event and then we let too many things fall through the cracks. So I think for us, our edge is staying locked in and focused for the entire duration of the meet, for entire duration of warm-ups. And that's not always just being intense the whole time. That's also adding in that kind of playful, joyful approach that I think is what allows our team to really be at our best.
After a long season, you'll want to leave the state for the next couple of weeks, just with
Mm-hmm.
SECs in Birmingham, regionals being hosted here. Just kind of what kind of opportunity is that for this team, and the chance to compete in front of more of your own fans?
Yeah, it's awesome for us to get to stay in Alabama for the next couple of weeks. Getting to host SECs up in Birmingham is such a tremendous opportunity for us to pull in our fan base, our home crowds, Birmingham, our community and state. And it really kind of creates a home field advantage. That's what it feels like for our team. So I hope everybody comes out and understands that you are such difference makers for our team to perform when it's packed out in crimson and white. And it also lays the foundation for us to have an opportunity to host again in the future, whether that's an SECs or a nationals or another event in our gymnastics world. The more people that show out, it just proves that Birmingham is a great place to host. And then going into regionals, getting to compete in our home environment in Coleman Coliseum, again, is another way that we can just settle in and do our norm and be in the space that we've been preparing for all year long to be at our best.
Anything else? All right. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
Cool.